Gently push until the mousse comes out.
Just small dots.
This is perfectly mixed.
So you hear it, the crunchiness of the choux.
Get the texture wrong and it's game over.
This is it.
Let's do this.
Hi everybody, welcome to Masters of Pastry, Zeelandia's first pastry competition. My name is Sarah Puozzo and I'm your host for today. Before we get started, you can choose to follow this event in English, Greek, Polish or Italian. Click on the live transcription button below and choose your language. Okay, are you all set? Masters of Pastry is a competition dedicated to professional pastry chefs and pastry enthusiasts around the world. When you are looking for innovative ideas, inspirational creations, new techniques, and great solutions, this is the place to be. If you like to discover new ways to create pastries, Masters of Pastry is a competition for you. We lined up top European pastry chefs who want to transform the fine pastry culture, pastry chefs who thrive to the best and never stop innovating. For Masters of Pastry, we connected the next generation of pastry chefs with established maîtres pâtissiers, master pâtissiers who built up their reputation over the years. These masters will compete for the title of Master of Pastry 2021. The winners will travel to Paris, where they will receive a tailor-made course at Le Cordon Bleu, one of the most prestigious pastry schools in the world. A unique and unforgettable experience. It was never our idea to host our first edition of Masters of Pastry online. We envisioned an inspirational live competition setting for our contestants. A shared arena where they were guided and inspired and provided with everything they needed to raise the bar. But the current worldwide corona situation made that scenario impossible. Thinking differently and adapting to the situation is in Zeelandia's DNA. And thus, Masters of Pastry became a digital competition. The challenges for the finalists were hosted and recorded locally in line with corona regulations. The pastries created were brought to our studio with special transport for tasting by the judges. What can you expect to see in the next 2 days? 3 finalist teams will demonstrate their skills and creativity in 2 challenges. Finalists will have to deliver top-notch pastries made with Zeelandia's ingredients, irresistible shapes, unthought flavor combinations, unique textures, and eye-catching colors, all brought into a pastry to demonstrate their design in pastry inspirations, exclusively for you. You will be more than just a spectator. You will watch, assess, and may vote for your favorite contestants. The jury, consisting of Willem Verlooy and Ramon Huigsloot, will be assessing the contestants' work very sharply. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the jury members. Our first member of the jury is Willem Verlooy.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi Willem, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm happy to see you here in the studios
Thank
of
you.
the Masters of Pastry competition. But Willem, tell me, what inspired you to become a professional pastry chef?
Well, I've always wanted to do something creative. When I was younger, I had to choose between working with wood or following my family's example with the food business. My uncles and parents were all invested in restaurants and bakeries, so I chose pastry because it has endless possibilities to be creative, and it certainly makes people smile.
I'm sure it makes people smile. And besides a competition, Masters of Pastry also aims to inspire and share the unlimited possibilities with Zeelandia's pastry ingredients. And for that, we have prepared different masterclasses. Willem, you also hosted a masterclass. Tell me honestly, how difficult is it for you to share your work?
Well, I love sharing my knowledge with others. I hold masterclasses all over the world, and by doing so, I really get inspired by different cultures and techniques that chefs from other countries are using. So it's a two-way street, really. By sharing knowledge, we can raise the bar and further push our skills.
Yes, I agree. And tell me, what is key for you in pastry design?
Well, The key for great pastry is a two-legged story. First of all, you really need to achieve a clean and simple, yet sophisticated design that suits the flavor combination. Secondly, the textures in a cake will make a cake magical. So soft textures will melt on your tongue first, whilst crunchy textures will explode in the end. By layering these different textures and flavors, you will have a constantly changing experience in your mouth. Cakes should never be boring.
Oh, I agree on that, Willem, absolutely. So now let me call the second judge on stage. Please welcome Ramon Hergsloot. Hi, Ramon, how are you?
Hi, Sarah. I'm good, thank you.
I don't know if you remember, but we have met before. I've met you when you were in the finals of the World Chocolate Masters. I interviewed you. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I still remember, of course.
Yes, it was. I was wondering, how did this affected your career?
Well, the World Chocolate Masters helped my career gain international recognition. In a normal life, without Corona, I travel with great regularity for Zealandia. It is always wonderful when people still remember my chocolate showpiece. Besides the recognition, is that I truly believe that you grow as a pastry chef when you participate in competitions. You must learn techniques that you have not mastered in order to advance in your preparation.
Absolutely. And nowadays you are a Zealandia ambassador, right?
Yeah.
But tell me, which highlights of your experience are important for your role now?
Well, I've always tried to learn as much as possible in the world of pastry. I think it's very important that you should always be eager to learn from other chefs. I've always tried to help and inspire our customers with new pastries and a different way of looking at their product. In July, the masterclasses of Willem and myself go online. That's a nice way to share knowledge and inspire the pastry chefs around the world.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward for the masterclasses. But Willem, can you tell us what can we expect today?
Of course. Well, the competition is divided into two challenges that the participants have already executed. Today, we will see the contestants facing their first challenge, and we will evaluate them on their techniques. Then we will evaluate their 1-minute inspirational pitch. To end this first day, we will taste every application and evaluate those as well.
Yes, but Ramon, tell me, we will be watching videos of the contestants. How difficult or easy is it to evaluate from video footage?
Well, because of Corona, we had to be inventive. So instead of bringing all of the candidates in, we went to visit them. Ibai Jimenez, our business development manager and initiator of this competition, visited every and each country represented in the finals. The finalists received their challenge in their own kitchen, and the cameras were the jury's eagle eyes. The contestants were filmed and at the same time monitored by Ibai. We used the entire complete video footage to evaluate the contestants during all over their work.
Yes, I can imagine that the pressure of the limited time and the cameras was an extra challenge for our contestants. It will be extremely exciting to see how the participants manage that stressful challenge. Ramon, can you tell us a little bit more about different criteria you and Willem will be looking at?
Based on the execution videos of all participants, we will give points based on their technical skills, their way of working, and innovative designs. After the execution video round, we will listen to the pitch of all candidates. We will use that pitch to evaluate the presented pastry concepts, the used colors, and the shape of the application. In today's last round, we will finally have a taste of the pastries, so we can judge taste and structure of the designs.
Okay, well, I'm very excited. I hope you guys are too. Now it's all clear. Let us introduce our international contestants. The first team representing Italy, let us meet Valentina Scanavacca and Fabio Ferrari.
Sono Valentina Scanavacca, tecnico di pasticceria in Nuova Terra Zelandia e rappresento l'Italia nel Master of Pastry. La mia più grande motivazione è dimostrare la mia competenza e le mie esperienze. La più grande sfida è quella di dovermi confrontare con realtà differenti e lontane dalla mia. Quando creo i miei dolci unisco i gusti e ascolto i gusti delle persone con cui parlo, aggiungendo la mia creatività e materie prime di prima qualità. Mi piace tutto il mondo della pasticceria, ma quello che mi dà gioia e soddisfazione è lavorare e creare soggetti in cioccolato.
Mi chiamo Ferrari Fabio, titolare della pasticceria San Francesco di Lainate. Rappresenterò l'Italia a Master of Pastry. La più grande motivazione che mi spinge a partecipare a questo evento è mettermi sempre in gioco e imparare tecniche nuove anche dei miei colleghi. La più grande sfida sarà quella di stupire i giudici con l'arte della pasticceria italiana. Quando creo nuovi dolci, cerco sempre di mantenere la tradizione e inserire delle innovazioni in modo di creare nuovi gusti. La mia specialità sono i grandi lievitati. Dal 1982, dove mi sono formato come lievitista in una pasticceria di Milano, ho incominciato la lavorazione del lievito madre e ancora oggi, dopo 39 anni, ho la madre che usavo quando avevo 20 anni.
Well, that looks promising. And our second team in Masters of Pastry, representing Greece. Let me introduce you to Vangelis Kalioras and Giannis Chikelis.
Με λένε Βαγγέλη Καλιόρα, εργάζομαι στη Σεύκο Ζηλάνδια ως τεχνικός σύμβουλος ζαχαροπλαστικής και εκπροσωπώ την Ελλάδα στο διαγωνισμό Masters of Pastry. Η μεγαλύτερη μου πρόκληση είναι να υπερβώ την καλύτερη εκδοχή του εαυτού μου μέσα από το διαγωνισμό, έτσι ώστε να αποδείξω τις δυνατότητές μου τόσο ατομικά όσο και συλλογικά. Για τις δημιουργίες μου αντλώ έμπνευση από μια απλή καθημερινή βόλτα στο σούπερ μάρκετ ή στο μανάβικο της γειτονιάς μου και είναι αρκετή ώστε να ενεργοποιήσει τη φαντασία μου. Η ειδικότητά μου στη ζαχαροπλαστική είναι να αποτυπώνω την πραγματική εικόνα στο γλυκό, να έχει διάφορα χρώματα, διαφορετικές υφές, έτσι ώστε και ο πιο απαιτητικός πελάτης να μην μπορεί να αντισταθεί.
Γεια σας, ονομάζομαι Γιάννης Τσίχλης και στον διαγωνισμό Masters of Pastry εκπροσωπώ την Ελλάδα. Το μεγαλύτερό μου κίνητρο για να συμμετέχω στο διαγωνισμό Masters of Pastry είναι να βελτιώσω τις γνώσεις μου, να εξελίξω τις τεχνικές μου και να δοκιμάσω τον εαυτό μου. Η μεγαλύτερη μου πρόκληση στο διαγωνισμό θα είναι να έρθω αντιμέτωπος με ξένους επαγγελματίες ζαχαροπλάστες, αλλά και με τον ίδιο μου τον εαυτό, να τον αντιμετωπίσω και να τον ξεπεράσω. Μου αρέσει πάρα πολύ να εμπνέομαι είτε από την εποχή και τη φύση, αλλά και από τα ίδια τα παιδιά, τα οποία πάντα μας δίνουν, χάρη στη φαντασία τους, φοβερές ιδέες, είτε για χρώματα, είτε για σχήματα, είτε για γεύσεις. Η ζαχαροπλαστική είναι μία τέχνη με πάρα πολλές πτυχές. Η ειδικότητά μου στη ζαχαροπλαστική είναι να παντρεύω συνδυασμούς γεύσεων, ώστε να πετυχαίνουμε τη μεγαλύτερη δυνατή απόλαυση.
So, now the last team, but not least, representing Poland. Please welcome Ursula Bartecka, Matuszewska and Karol Plachta.
Nazywam się Urszula Bartecka-Matuszewska. W Masters of Pastry reprezentuję Polskę. Moją największą motywacją do udziału w konkursie jest podejmowanie nowych wyzwań. Lubię stawiać sobie wysoko poprzeczkę. Moim największym wyzwaniem w tym konkursie będzie sprawdzenie się na arenie międzynarodowej. Inspiracje czerpię z otoczenia, natury, przyrody. Szukam technik, rozwiązań. Uczę się od najlepszych. Moją specjalnością cukierniczą jest dekoracja, dbałość o detale i estetyka.
Nazywam się Karol Plachta. Na konkursie Masters of Pastry będę reprezentował Polskę. Największą motywacją do udziału w tym konkursie jest chęć zdobywania wiedzy i cennego doświadczenia. Myślę, że dla młodego cukiernika jest to najważniejsze. Inspiracji poszukuję w książkach kulinarnych mistrzów cukiernictwa z całego świata oraz w filmach z ich udziałem. Moim największym wyzwaniem w tym konkursie będzie występ przed kamerami i praca pod presją czasu. Torty deserowe i desery na talerzu uważam za moją specjalność cukierniczą.
Well, what an inspiring stories. The highest level is expected to be seen today with the first challenge. Willem, can you tell us a little bit more about the first challenge?
Absolutely. For the first assignment, our pastry chefs need to create and design a cake or tart. The cake needs to be a multi-sensory pastry experience. The topic of this year is design in pastry, so we ask the participants to play with colors, shapes, textures, and anything that tickles the jury's senses. These are the key elements when creating a new pastry. Next to that, participants should explain how they shaped and transformed the pastry ingredients into a delightful application.
The applications must also contain at least 3 different textural elements and have an explicit fruity taste. The weight of each piece should be between 400 and 800 grams, and they have only 3.5 hours to make it.
Well, that's really a challenge. Without any further delay, let us kick off the competition and see how our finalists performed the first challenge. So before we have a look at the execution video of the first team, I need some notebooks for these judges. So Ibai, can you help us? Perfect.
Thank you.
The judges can write down their comments and their points. And now we will have a look at Ibai's first visit video.
We came to Greece, a country where modern and tradition coexist. But we came here to meet the local contestants of Masters of Pastry, a team who has been working hard and hand-to-hand, preparing the most inventive pastry creation with great motivation and enthusiasm. They will be fighting for Masters of Pastry title in this first digital edition. But now, let's meet the Greek team. Καλή επιτυχία, Ελλάδα!
Γεια σας. Τι κοινό μπορεί να υπάρχει ανάμεσα στη χώρα του ανατέλλοντος ηλίου, την Ελλάδα, και το διαγωνισμό Masters of Pastry? Είστε έτοιμοι? Πάμε να ανακαλύψουμε. Ξεκινάμε. Βάζουμε το cake, green tea matcha. Είναι 140 φορές περισσότερες οι αντιοξυδωτικές ιδιότητες από ότι στα απλά φύλλα ενός τσαγιού. Η ιαπωνική λέξη matcha είναι σύνθετη. Προέρχεται από τη λέξη match που σημαίνει τρίβο και από τη λέξη cha που σημαίνει τσάι. Οπότε έχουμε φτιάξει τη λέξη τριμμένο τσάι. Έτοιμοι να φροντίσουμε.
10 λεπτά, 160, ανοιχτό τάμπερ.
Έτοιμοι. Θα συνεχίσουμε με τη δεύτερη Παρασκευή, η οποία είναι το Fruitful κόκκινο κεράσι, αρωματισμένο με φρέσκα φύλλα εστραγκών. Έχουμε το κομποτέ.
Με το νερό θα πάει στους 40 βαθμούς. Το δεύτερο φρούτο που έχουμε χρησιμοποιήσει στο γλυκό μας είναι το λεμόνι. Είναι ο συνδετικός κρίκος μεταξύ του κερασιού και του κέικ πράσινο κέικ μάτσα. Έχουμε κάνει μια γέμιση με 2 διαφορετικές κρέμες. Η πρώτη είναι η υδατόκρεμα πρέστα lemon. Θα μας δώσει μια πιο σταθερή δομή και υφή. Και σε ίση αναλογία έχουμε συμπληρώσει το fruitful lemon που θα μας δώσει την οξύτητα και τη φρεσκάδα που θέλουμε στη γέμιση λεμόνι.
Ένα καρπό κεράσι, σιρόπι κερασιού και θα πάρουμε όλη τη γεύση.
Άρα εδώ έχουμε 2 διαφορετικές κρέμες λεμόνι. Η κάθε μία εξυπηρετεί το σκοπό της.
Το πρώτο σερβίρισμα ολοκληρώθηκε. Θα προσθέσουμε το εστραγκόν.
Οι βάσεις πράσινου τσάι είναι έτοιμες. Τις αφήνουμε λίγο να κρυώσουν.
Γεμίζουμε τις φόρμες μας στο ίδιο ύψος, ώστε να δημιουργήσουμε το layer μέσα στο γλυκό μας.
Εγώ έχω βάλει το σιροπάκι, κύρς, ζάχαρη, νερό. Θα κάνουμε ένα σιροπάκι, μόλις κρυώσει λίγο θα συμπληρώσουμε το αλκοόλ. Πάμε να ετοιμάσουμε την μους. Άρα για τον αρωματισμό έχουμε γάλα και καρπό του κακάο.
Για να πετύχουμε έναν καλό αρωματισμό, θα χρειαστεί να θερμάνουμε το γάλα για να λιώσουν τα λιπαρά του. Θα θερμάνουμε και τον καρπό του κακάο, ο οποίος τα έλαια που περιέχει θα αρχίσουν να βγαίνουν στην επιφάνεια. Μυρωδιές που μας ταξιδεύουν στη φύση, στην ύπαιθρο, στην επαρχία, στα χωριά μας.
Οπότε μέχρι να γίνει το infusion έχουμε ετοιμάσει όλα τα υπόλοιπα για τη μους.
Πυρέ. Πολύ ωραία.
Μόλις παγώσουν αυτά εδώ, θα ξεφορμάρουμε και από την κάτω πλευρά που θα ανέβει με τα πάνω θα κάνουμε το λεμόνι με ένα κορνέ συν τον ωρέ. Βάζω σοκ.
Είμαστε έτοιμοι και με το infusion, είμαστε έτοιμοι και με τη μαρέγκα. Ρίξε ένα τρίτο έτσι, να πάρει τα πρώτα. Ωραίο.
Πολύ.
Glaze. Μόλις ομογενοποιηθούν όλα τα συστατικά, είμαστε έτοιμοι.
Νομίζω εδώ μπορούμε να ξεφορμάρουμε.
Ωραία, έτοιμη η ζύμη. Την αφήνουμε να ξεκουραστεί λίγο στη συντήρηση.
Θα μπορούσε να είναι και αυτό ένα γλυκό.
Από μόνο του,
Από μόνο του.
Πασόκ.
Ναι.
Ωραία.
Νομίζω πλησιάζει η ώρα που πρέπει
Να κολληθεί το
σιγά σιγά να...
Ωραία. Είμαστε κοντά. Θα το βάλουμε λίγο στην κατάψυξη να σετάρει. Μην βυθίσουμε το ότι γέμισε και πάει στραβά.
Ωραία.
Όμορφα.
Έφτασε η ώρα του φούρνου.
Πολύ ωραία. Τα κοτσανάκια.
Κοτσάνια. Έτοιμοι.
μάτια σου.
Θα μου την κάνεις δώρο.
Ναι.
Αλήθεια. Πολύ ωραία τα βλέπω. Ωραία. Είναι ένα. Αυτό είναι το τελευταίο,
Ναι.
Τέλος.
Τέλειο.
So you guys are watching a recap of a 3.5-hour video you guys have seen before. Do you have already some comments?
Yeah, first of all, it was noticeable that they really had a very clean execution all the time.
Yes.
So that's really a big plus. Then I have a few small points. First of all is you could see that they used a very liquid mousse for their cake, which is very good because they have a special mold with edges, and with a liquid mousse you won't have any air bubbles in the end, so that's perfect.
Yes.
But you saw in the end result that the insert kind of shifted a little bit inside the mold.
So how could they have prevented that?
Well, if they lower the temperature of the cream before they add it to the mass, then you will have a little bit less liquidity inside the mousse and your interior will stay put.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Do you have other comments?
Well, there was one thing with the glazing of the cake.
Yes.
The difficulty in this shape lies in the edges of the cake. So of course it's a really tricky one. So what I would do definitely is I would put a very thin first layer so you have a base color as well, and then I would adjust my glaze a little bit to have the right matcha coloring in this case, and then put a very thin second layer on it.
A second one. That's a very good tip. And Ramon, do you also have some comments?
Yeah, of course. What I saw is there was a great co-op within a team, and there were a few smart things that they did that I really liked. And
Yeah.
one of them was they rolled out the sweet dough and they were baking it between two baking sheets.
Yes.
That's one. And the other one is that they also used the 3D mold as a cutting mold. So I really like that.
That's very clever.
It's very clever because you also already have the shape of the pastry.
The perfect shape for that. Okay. Well, thank you, Jerry. And let's have a look at the next video.
Today in Poland, where over the years fine pastry have demanded their space in bakeries, we came to meet the local team. They have been working hard during the development period with great excellence and professionalism, taking care of every single detail. They work together to get the title, so brace yourself because they are here. Now, let's say hi to the local team, the Polish team.
No to zaczynamy zabawę. Myjemy łapki i startujemy. Przygotowani jesteśmy, więc damy radę.
Damy radę.
Podzielimy się na zadania. Ty w tym czasie, jak ja będę robiła spód do tarty, przygotujesz żelkę morelową, a potem dalej już jak jeden organizm pociśniemy dalej, tak żeby było po kolei dobrze. Zacznę sobie od użycia karleksu. Przejadę tylko taką dosłownie cienką warstwą. Tego nie będzie grubo. Tak tylko, żeby ten papier mi się do tego przykleił.
Wymieszam wszystkie składniki teraz do naszej żelki. Rozpuścimy żelatynę i wyłożymy nasze formy.
Jak pięknie pachnie. Cudownie. To jest nasz główny bohater naszego dzieła. To jest fruitful morelowy. Przepyszny, aromatyczny, z dużą ilością kawałków dużych owoców. Podkreśliliśmy, troszkę podrasowaliśmy zestem z limonki, ale tak tylko delikatnie, żeby uzyskać trochę takiego magicznego, głębszego koloru, delikatnego aromatu. Także wyjdzie nam wspaniale, Karol.
Będzie pysznie.
Ja jestem gotowa do mieszania ciacha. O, jaki piękny aromat kardamonu już się tutaj dobywa. Ten kardamon, który tutaj w środku mamy, nada takiego fajnego charakteru, jeszcze takiej głębi. Wyciągniemy to, co najlepsze. Ok, mamy 4 minuty. Nie mieszamy dłużej, żeby nam nasza masa cała się nie zbryliła do końca. Czyli mamy to, co do środka. Teraz postaram się idealnie rozłożyć na równomierną warstwę. Teraz wezmę stempelek i sobie zaczynamy ugniatać dookoła, bo będę usypywała sobie teraz taką ramkę. Muszę teraz wcelować idealnie w centrum tego naszego ciacha. Precyzyjna praca, wymagająca skupienia.
Przełożyłem sobie całe ciasto do worka cukierniczego. Teraz po 100 gramów będę dozował do każdej z ramek. Wpływamy się wszelkich pęcherzyków powietrza. Czy myślisz, Ula, że nasze żelki można już wyciągnąć?
Dzięki temu, że Karol zgniotłeś te papierki, nasz pergamin, fajna będzie struktura, taka nietypowa.
Ogrzewając rameczki,
Would be easier, I think, if they use the plastic sheet. Yeah.
Mamy to. Karolu, tak, skończyłam 4.
Ja schowam nasze żeleczki do
podstawy.
mroźni, tak? Nie do szotówki, tylko do mroźni.
Tak.
No, będziemy robić dekoracje.
Tak, zaczniemy zaraz robić dekoracje, więc będę chciała, żebyś pomógł nam tutaj zatemperować czekoladę. Ja sobie przygotuję wszystko do dekoracji. Lubię się bawić w takich zabawkach, jak kobieta tworzyć, malować. Tu mam pełną galę kolorów. Przygotowałam sobie listeczki i na podstawie tych listeczków, jak Karol zatemperujesz mi czekoladę, zrobię piękną dekorację przypominającą naturalny listek.
Nabiorę sobie troszkę czekolady rozpuszczonej. 3/4 tej czekolady wyleję sobie na blat. Teraz będziemy ochładzać do około 25-27 stopni.
A ja już mogę trochę?
Możesz,
Dasz mi?
pewnie, że możesz.
Dasz mi trochę podzielić się? Malujemy po stronie zewnętrznej listka, tu gdzie jest ta żyłka taka najbardziej widoczna, żeby ten listek był jak najbardziej naturalny. I pędzelkiem cieniutko nanosimy zatemperowaną czekoladę na liść.
Spójrz, Ola, czy ta ilość czekolady wystarczy Ci na nasze dekoracje?
Jest ok, jest super, przykrywaj. Lodówa. Oczywiście czekoladę, którą tutaj mamy rozpuszczoną, jest to czekolada 58 z Zelandii. Ona jest fajna, uniwersalna, taka właśnie do robienia i dekoracji. Ona ma bardzo ładny kolor. Takie przygotowane listeczki zanoszę do lodówki. A będziemy tworzyć teraz
Gałązki.
gałązki, dokładnie. Robimy gałązki, zaczynając od cienkiego dołu, lecąc tak zwane widełki, na które nam się gałązka rozchodzi, potem wyniesie nam się cała w dekoracji naszego dzieła. Coś tam się zadziało.
Clever way to make the chocolate branches.
Z biszkoptów.
Mam do Ciebie prośbę jeszcze, żebyś delikatnie nożykiem ściął jeszcze te fragmenty takie lekko przypieczone, ponieważ w przekroju naszej tarty ja bym chciała, żebyśmy mieli taki idealny, fajny kolorek zielony tego, co się kryje wewnątrz, tak? Czyli delikatnie to, co tutaj nam się łuszczy, zetniemy i to, co jest od góry, tak? A tutaj już nam, słuchajcie, dzieje się magia, za chwilę wychodzą nam tarty.
Już czas.
Ciągniemy w górę bardzo, bardzo wolno, ostrożnie. Mamy to. Ten cały rand to nasza konstrukcja, która po prostu tego trzyma nasze dzieło, trzyma w całości. Tych zewnętrznych
it's really smart what they use to pull the ring out. Small clips.
Jak nam zwiąże całości. Bardzo proszę. Tak. Super. Ekstra. Karolu, w międzyczasie podgrzej proszę żel do żelowania żelki, dobrze? Teraz nanosimy na nasze żelki żel w celu, żeby nam się cała żelka ładnie mieniła. I nasze podstawy. piękne, które potrzebujemy wyjąć z tej zewnętrznej teraz ramki. To było ważne, żeby to masło, które żeśmy wtłaczali w nasz miks, żeby nie było właśnie za miękkie i za twarde. Wszystko nam wyszło idealnie, nie mamy dziurek po bokach, gdzie to też zapobiega wypływaniu masy, którą też będziemy dozować, wtłaczać do środka. Zanim włożymy prażynkę, to sobie ją najpierw zamszujemy, nie? Zaczynamy show. Mamy to. Trzeba będzie przetrzeć troszeczkę drzwi.
To be honest, I prefer this one without the velvet. The velvet for me is something to cover up a mousse so it cannot dry out. In this case, it doesn't really have a purpose.
Yeah.
Rozsmarowaną. Damy na chwilę do szokówki. Temperatura spadła do -24, więc to nie jest bardzo zimna. I teraz przygotujemy creme brulee. Potrzebujesz
Śmietana i mleko.
Proszę bardzo. Masę żelatynową. Nie potrzeba jej podgrzewać, ponieważ będziesz miał gorące te płyny. To się rozpuszczą już bezpośrednio. I na koniec juzu. Ja w międzyczasie przygotuję już do musu czekoladowego, bo będziemy potrzebowali pieprzu. Więc ja ten pieprz już rozdrobnię. Tutaj mamy czerwony pieprz. W etapie kremu brulee nie możemy zapomnieć o tym, że musimy położyć ciacho. Ty będziesz przygotowywał mus czekoladowy, ja infuzję, ja przygotuję
Wrzucamy
śmietanę.
masę żelatynową?
Tak. Ja przygotuję śmietankę i potem zajmiemy się razem dekoracjami czekoladowymi, ok? Które na nas czekają. Czyli mamy to i jedziemy. Jedziemy po 150 gram. Naważamy do naszej tarty. Mamy to. Wylądowały 4 nasze ciasteczka do środka. Ok. I przygotujesz teraz, proszę, mus czekoladowy, a ja ubiję śmietanę. Śmietanę ubijamy tak na 3/4, nie ubijamy jej tak na maksa, tylko żeby ona była delikatna, żeby nasz mus był taki kremowy, dobry. Karol, poproszę teraz nasze już tarty z szokówki. Została nam żelka i została nam dekoracja czekoladowa, tak? Mamy piękny czas, godzina 13. Teraz możemy na spokojnie zająć się elegancją dekoracji. I tutaj zajmiemy się teraz śliczną dekoracją naszych listeczków. Karolu, została nam niecała godzina.
Damy radę.
Czy zdążymy?
Postaramy się raczej.
Kurczę, nie wiem. 4 podejściki, które nam posłużą jako...
They show a lot of different techniques here in the decorations. I really like
W
it.
temperaturze już w chłodni zaczęła delikatnie żelka pracować, a zaczęła odpuszczać już ten mróz i już widać, że zaczyna nabierać głębi, koloru, już wszystko zaczyna do nas przemawiać. Oczywiście układamy wszystkie, więc elementy składowe naszej tarty lądują na naszej aplikacji. Ten diament nieoszlifowany ja teraz dorobię kilka takich maleńkich kropelek. Oczywiście mam idealny do tego produkt firmy Zelandia, paletta Cold. I nasza gotowa propozycja dla Państwa waży 737 gram.
Jest.
Karolu,
Dobrze.
mamy
W
to!
porządku. Wszystko się zgadza. 24 minuty.
What a great cake of the Poland team. So I'm very curious about your comments. Ramon, tell us.
Well, first of all, they go up perfectly. One of the most smart things that I saw is when they release the middle ring of their cake, they use small clips. And because the cake comes out of the oven, it's very hot. And when you use the clips to release it, I thought it's very smart.
It's very clever, yes.
It's very clever. And one little critical point of view is they are making so much nice, delicate decorations.
Yes.
For example, the flowers that I make with a layer of chocolate on them, releasing it so you have a perfect chocolate leaf. Why are you using then also fresh flowers if you can also make them from chocolate? So for me, in a pastry competition, it doesn't show any craftsmanship if you just put on fresh leaves.
Yes, so it was not necessary.
It was
in
not
your
necessary.
opinion. Yeah, so Willem.
Yeah, I agree with Ramon, but
Yeah.
for me, the chocolate decorations that they made, it was truly, it showed them great skill. They
Yes.
showed various techniques to make these chocolate decorations, and to even brush
Very delicate.
yeah, to brush it with the metal brushes. It's very delicate. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
So they got some extra points for that, of course.
Absolutely.
But what my critical point would be is that you would see with their compote, with their fruity flavor that they would put in, they put it on a paper sheet, and of course paper it attracts the moisture, and it starts to get wrinkly the moment you put a moisture filling on it.
Yeah.
When you freeze it, then it starts to get wrinkly, and what I would have done is put it on plastic or put it in a silicone mold, so it would be completely flat, and then the contrast between the flat shiny surface and then the crumble around it would make it even more beautiful.
Yes, I agree on that. So thank you, Joey. And now let's have a look at the last team, and that's Italy.
We finally move to the north of Italy, where we will meet the last team in the finals. The tradition, quality, and passion are what these two contestants seek in their creations. Their creativity, braveness, and hard work are the best allies in this battle. They don't need more words to be introduced, so let's meet the Italian team. Buona fortuna!
Per questo dolce ci siamo ispirati alle opere di Kandinsky, alle sue rotondità e alle sue forme e colori vivaci e allegri. Andiamo!
Via!
Via! Fabio? Giusto?
Posto, vai.
It's a lot of dough, For 3 cakes.
Questo puoi anche farlo fine.
Non lo faccio, sì, io
come
faccio
vuoi.
fine come l'altra volta.
Sì,
E siamo
senza
a posto.
problemi.
Così.
Tienila qua, tienila. Tienila con una mano qua e con l'altra portala. Comincia a lavorare sui tuoi semifreddi, tanto io ho tempo di farli
Dopo li
quando
facciamo.
cuoce la torta.
That's strange for me that they put a perforated sheet inside a perforated mold. It was already like a non-stick silicone mold, so why would you put 2 layers? Now you can see from the edges there that
It's not so.
the sweet dough is kind of falling back. Could be prevented if they put the dough back into the fridge after rolling it out. But this is very difficult. You see that they don't really have a very liquid mousse, and to then really fill out the corners of a three-dimensional shape is nearly impossible without having air bubbles.
Trovato un altro di questi.
That's good. That's nice to use a silicone mat as a base, and then put a plastic sheet on top. Then it really makes sure that it doesn't shift anything. And it's like perfectly flat.
And you also have shininess on both sides.
Exactly.
E viene lo stesso. Sì, quella là.
Non cattare Vittoria.
So you see it when he's cutting through the plastic.
Yeah, and they remain perfectly flat.
Non le ho neanche contate, le ho fatte giuste. Vabbè che sono in avanzo perché sono 12 e queste sono di più.
Ne ho messe 2 su 1, no?
No, no. Le torte, le hai già messe in abbattitore?
No, no.
Here you see he's wrapping it in plastic, but what's more easy is if you just take some cling film, because it will stick, and a normal plastic sheet you'll still have to put some tape in the end, and it always loosens up a little bit more.
E quello, più bello questo.
Teniamo questi?
Teniamo,
Questo lo butto perché...
quello buttalo e questi qua li teniamo di riserva. Peso.
Well, the chocolate has a nice shiny surface.
Yeah.
Adesso si sono smollati e abbiamo chiuso con le imperfezioni.
Yeah, you see it. Yeah, an air bubble.
Dentro? Ok, allora ti tolgo tutto. Non esagerare, Fabio?
No, no. Sì, credo di sì. Tanto lo metto dentro qua, quella di troppo, tanto è la stessa roba, no?
Quella è a posto, la prima è a posto?
Ok.
I love the Italian way of working. They're really passionate.
Ok? Dopo dobbiamo centrare questo col bordo, Vai?
Così?
Vai là. Sì? Ok? Perfetto.
see there is still some drips
Vai?
of glaze on the bottom of the cake, so you can prevent it by just
Cosa?
moving it
Sì.
around over
Mi
the...
tremano le mani adesso però. Ok?
Ok. Vuoi che te li faccio io?
No, no, vado.
No, cosa si può fare, scusa?
Tu metti dopo i tondini?
Eh?
Tu metti dopo i tondini?
No, li metto subito.
Ecco, mettili. Va bene? Guardami, Che è tutta sfasata e là.
It's nice that they took into account the shape of the ball and then made a chocolate decoration that goes around it.
Noi ci siamo. Mani in alto. Finish.
Grazie, Italy. So, Willem, let's talk about that technique and let's talk about the decoration. What do you think about that?
Well, they started off with a very clever way of making the chocolate decorations. So they had a silicone sheet and then they put some plastic on top and then made the chocolate decorations in between two plastic sheets, which actually makes them very flat, very thin, keeps them perfect basically. So that's a very clever technique. What I found a little bit strange is that they used the Silicomart tart ring, which is already like a non-stick and perforated ring, and then they put a perforated slab in the middle actually. So I was wondering why that would be, or if they needed the height for something.
It was a bit useless?
Yes, I didn't really understand that, but of course the result is then that you don't really get the sharp edges that you would get if you would just use the ring on itself. So they could have prevented that if they put the dough back into the fridge after they use the sheeter, and then just use a ruler to cut exact strips that they would need for the cake, but they didn't. They used they quickly used the wheel to cut it. So yeah, then you have a little bit unsharp edges, of course, in the end result. Yeah.
Okay, so Ramon, what are your comments?
Yeah, I really liked their inspiration from Kandinsky.
Yes.
That was one of the things. Okay, they thought about that. On the other hand, in the beginning of the footage, when they started rolling the dough, I saw a big lump of dough for only 4 cakes. So that's a little bit too much for a competition.
I think it's Italian style. So, well, thank you very much for the comments, and impressive the quality we have seen here today. The contestants are not making it easy for the jury. The first points have been distributed. But before we have a look at the scoreboards, let me tell you how we will divide the points today. The jury can grant 200 points. Technique is 70 points. Design is also 70 points. Flavor is 60 points. In addition, the public can grant 100 points. 50 points is for technique and 50 points on concept. Points of the audience will be added to the total of the first day. All right, audience, the poll starts now. Choose the country which you think has the best technical skills. The country with the most votes will get 50 extra points for their technique. The second one gets 40 points, and the third one gets 30 extra points. While the public is voting, we are going to have a look at the scoreboard with the results of the jury. So let's have a look. The first round technique, 46 points for Italy, 54 points for Greece, and Poland has 58 points. So, is this what you guys expected?
Yeah, I think it's a close call. What you see, for example, Greece and Poland, on the execution, they were very alike. I think the Italy team has to push a little bit more on that.
Yes. And do you have something to add on this?
I think me and Ramon, we were on the same page here regarding to the points.
Yes.
We saw some true professionals here at work, so definitely all of them, showed their best work. I think Poland is at this point, technique-wise, is ahead. Yes.
They're the strongest one.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for your votes, because audience, the poll has ended now. Tomorrow we will see the results of who gets the extra points. Let us go to the next round of our competition. After our finalists finished the application, they were asked to present and explain their pastry design in a 1-minute pitch. Let us have a look at the first video of Greece.
Σας αποκαλύπτουμε την Green Forest. Ένα ταξίδι στη μακρινή Ιαπωνία, μία γουλιά πράσινο τσάι μάτσα και δημιουργήθηκε ένα νέο γλυκό. Εμπνευστήκαμε σε ένα συνδυασμό με κόκκινο κεράσι και λεμόνι της σειράς Fruitful σε σχήμα που παραπέμπει στο φυσικό φύλλο της λεμονιάς και της κερασιάς.
So what do you think about the color, Ramon?
Well, I think the color is more like pistachio and not a lot like matcha.
Yes, you agree on that?
I agree. But I do like the combination of matcha and cherry, and that they kind of enhance the flavor by adding lemon to it.
Yes. And the shape?
Well, it's a 3D mold. I always love, for example, when they use a regular ring and do something, some really creativity with it.
Yeah.
And if you use those kind of molds, you can only make one kind of shape.
Exactly. That's nice. Okay, let's have a look at the next pitch.
Tarta z natury. Zapraszamy do naszej historii o smaku, kompozycji, kolorze i kształcie. Inspiracją w stworzeniu tej kreacji była dla nas Matka Ziemia i natura, która nas otacza. W naturze doszukasz się faktur, smaków, kolorów, aromatów i kształtów.
Zabierzemy Was w podróż, która poruszy wszystkie Wasze zmysły. Zaczniemy od chrupiącej warstwy ciasta z płatkami owsianymi, z nutą kardamonu, otulonego zamszem czekoladowym. Kolej na mocno wyrazistą strukturę chrupiącej prażynki o smaku głębokim orzechowym. Kolej na delikatne, wysublimowane brule z nietuzinkowym smakiem juzu. Koloru, smaku i dodatkowej struktury dodaje ciasto maślane z dodatkiem naturalnej pistacji. Kolej na mus z delikatnym, charakternym smakiem czerwonego pieprzu, zamknięty w musie czekoladowym. Kolejnym etapem naszej podróży jest żelka morelowa w kolorze zachodzącego słońca. Finałem mała gałązka czekoladowa z delikatnym listkiem skropionym rosą.
Yes, so what do you think about the texture that they used?
I really love the fact that they use a lot of textures. For me, the texture is what makes it interesting in the end. The only hope I have is that they use a lot of different flavors, and I hope they don't get lost in the total cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's have a look later on.
Absolutely.
And Ramon, do you have something to add?
No, I totally agree with Willem. When I read all the flavors that are inside, red pepper, yuzu, cardamom, I'm really
a bit
curious.
too much?
I don't know. It's I hope every flavor will have a great taste in the end result. But you have to wait and see. We have to
Yes,
find out.
absolutely. So let's have a look at the last team.
Per realizzare questo dolce ci siamo ispirati alle opere di Kandinsky, forme circolari e colori molto vivaci. La sofficità del ripieno della torta è data dal fatto che c'è quasi esclusivamente farina di mandorla. Poi troverete un'altra parte croccante che divide la torta da forno dalla mousse di cioccolato fondente e nelle due mousse comunque troverete del cioccolato fondente a sfoglie proprio per dare una croccantezza alla sofficità e alla morbidezza della mousse stessa.
Yes, a very interesting cake, right, Willem?
Absolutely, and they truly understand the importance of the texture in the cake. So I'm looking forward to taste it.
Yes. Ramon,
Yeah,
what do you
me-
think about?
Yeah, me also. I'm very curious. It looks delicious and can't wait for tasting it.
So before we go to the scoreboard, I would also like to get the points from the public. Ladies and gentlemen, the poll starts now. Please indicate which country you think has the best pastry concept. The country with the most votes will again get 50 extra points for their technique. The second one gets 40 points, and the third one gets 30 extra points. Let us have a look at the scoreboard of the jury. How do you guys see these inspirations, creativity, and the way the contestants have transmitted that into their pastries? What do you think?
Well, the level of the pastries is quite impressive. For example, it's quite difficult for if you have a concept that's called Kandinsky, if you can also make a cake out of it. So
Yes.
That I have to give credit to the Italian team. They did it quite
They're
good.
very creative.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think, Willem?
I agree with Ramon. The shapes for the Italian team, they really came back. They had three-dimensional shapes on a tart, which is really nice. We saw some very cool shapes at Greece and Poland as well. I think like the points really tell the story here. We have ex aequo with Italy and Greece here, and Poland is just a little bit ahead. So the jury is not going to make the difference tonight. I think the audience
Yes,
will.
they will make a difference.
They will make the big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you, jury. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for voting. Tomorrow we will see which country received the most points from the public for Challenge 1. The last part of the first challenge causes many headaches. How to taste the candidates' pastries. We asked all contestants to freeze their applications, and using a dedicated transport, these have been brought to our studio. All arrived in good condition, luckily. We have unfrozen them and they are ready to taste. So please, Ibai, bring us the first cake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do you think?
Very soft mousse.
Yes. And what about the colors inside?
I really like the way it's built up.
Yeah.
So in the video, we saw that the inside, it kind of shifted a little bit, but in this cake that we are presented here, it's perfectly straight and it's level and it's center, so that's really nice.
And what do you think about the glaze? You had some doubts about it.
Yeah.
The color of the glaze.
In the video, what we saw was that the glaze was a little bit thin on the edges.
Exactly.
But the cake we have here today has the perfect thickness. Yeah. The only thing that I would say about the color of the glaze is that in here, yeah, you're telling a story about Japan and that you want to have the matcha combined with the cherries.
Yes.
So then the glaze could be more matcha colored instead of the pistachio green that we have here now, but it's a detail, of course.
Yes. And Ramon, do you like it?
Yeah, for my opinion, the taste is very in balance. So you taste the green tea, the cherries, also the lemon is very noticeable. But on the other hand, one small point what I think that you can do a little bit better next time, because everything is quite soft.
Yeah.
So
you miss a little bit more texture.
I miss a little bit more the texture. What do you think, Willem?
I miss a bit of the texture in the cherry.
Yeah.
That would be nice to have like a bit of the, yeah, the crunchiness of a fresher cherry, so to say. To have it in there, that would be nice, because indeed you have the crunchy texture of the cookie, which remains perfectly crunchy. But then the matcha, the biscuit, so to say, the texture is kind of similar to the mousse. So is
So you miss
I agree.
contrast.
I agree. A bit of chunks from the cherries would be ideal.
Yeah, or maybe an extra layer of sponge or biscuit. I think I would also prefer.
True.
But in
Okay.
general, the taste is very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
well balanced.
But we have to be critical, and so that's.
Well, we have still more cakes to taste, right? So, Ibai, bring us the next one from Poland. So, Willem, can you tell us a little bit more about the inside, how it's built up?
Well, I see some beautiful layers here, so that's really a first big plus. Everything seems to be done perfectly. You have the crispy praline on top of the base, so that's going to give us a nice crunch. Then we have a soft texture, a biscuit texture, a soft texture again, and then the jelly on top. So yeah, texture-wise,
It looks
they
nice.
did a lot, yes.
So,
Yeah.
Ramon, you already had a bite? Tell us.
Yeah, the layers are beautiful, and if you eat this cake, you eat all kinds of different textures, and I really, really love it. What I also like is that you see on the outside, that's a real fruity cake, a real fruity
Yes.
tart. That's also in the regulations of this competition, and they
Exactly.
really worked it out. On the if I have to give one critical point, they used a lot of spices and herbs.
Cardamom and everything, yeah.
I was already a little bit afraid that you don't taste everything, and that's also what if I taste it right now, the Greek cake was a little bit more imbalanced if you talk about flavor.
Yes.
But this one, if you talk about textures and things like that, this is really a great, great cake.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's have another bite, right? Ibai, can you bring us the last cake from Italy? So, Ramon, it looks delicious, right?
Yeah, and this was also the one with Kandinsky. If you saw the footage of Italy, they were a little bit less organized than the other teams.
Yes.
But if you look at the shape of the product, it's really inventive, and I really like it because you have a tart, a lot of texture, baked things, and overall it looks pretty.
Yeah, they give a really good interpretation of Kandinsky, right?
Yes, yes.
And Willem, you had a bite. Tell us.
Yeah. What is noticeable from the start is that they used two mousses in the same bite, so to say, and that doesn't really work out the way I hoped it would, because the thing is, with two mousses, exactly the same textures, they will release the flavor at exactly the same time. So it's basically the same as if you would just mix those two mousses together and
So
make
you
it
miss
as one.
contrast.
Exactly. But what I do like about it is that they have a chocolate layer in here. They have the jam in between. There is quite some crunch here from the cookie, so that's all very good.
And can you tell me a little bit more about the fruitiness? Because the fruit aspect is really important as well in the
fruit
competition.
aspect is really
Yes.
important, and the raspberry here, it comes out brilliantly if you taste it alone. So yeah, the fruit is definitely very present and is very nice.
Yeah. So mango and raspberry are a good combination.
Yeah, it's a good combination. If you look at one other point you see that the sweet dough, it releases from the bottom. So I think they also have to check their recipe if they can do it another way, because when you cut it, when you eat it, it's always better when it stays in one piece.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I have to ask you to write down your points, and let's have a look back at the beautiful cake of Greece that was inspired of Japan. So I'm very curious what the points will be for that beautiful cake. And then we also had Poland, and Poland had a beautiful chocolate decoration. It looked also very beautiful. And the last cake that we tried was the one of Italy, the beautiful cake that was inspired on Kandinsky. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, so Ibai, can you help us with the notebooks?
Sure. I will.
Perfect. Okay. So whilst the scoreboard is being updated, I can share with you some good news. The recipes of the 3 applications are available on the competition website, www.mastersofpastry.com. You can download them and make them yourself. Okay, let's have a look at the scoreboard after day 1. We have added all points together, and I can announce the 3rd team. Currently in 3rd position, we have Italy, 136 points. No stress, Team Italy. Tomorrow is another day, and in which everything can change. Remember, the audience has also awarded points, which will be added still to the current score. This can change everything. Let us see who starts according to the jury's points in pole position for the finals on day 2. Congrats, Poland! You are leading the competition, but be aware of the competitors are not far behind you. And we still must add the audience points. So, Willem and Raymond, how do you think about this first day?
It was great, really. We tasted some brilliant cakes, and the level of the pastry chefs here is very good.
Yes, it's a high level, I agree.
Yeah, we've seen 3 totally different cakes, and we saw some new techniques, and that's always nice to view, but also to taste.
Yes, it was very excited, and I'm very much looking forward for tomorrow. Because thanks to jury members, we hereby close day 1. And tomorrow at 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. for our Greek viewers, we will be back for the final day. After watching the second challenge, we will know which team can be crowned as the winner of 2021 Masters of Pastry. See you all tomorrow.